what a lot of people don't understand is that personal care products are not regulated by the government at all. A company can produce a brand new product, put whatever ingredients they want in there, ship it out to the stores and sell it. There's no one coming in to these companies and saying, oh, let's test this product and see if it's suitable to put on the shelf. And there are people that say, okay, well, we need more government regulation. We need government to step in and regulate these products that are being put out on the shelf. And I really think that's a two-edged sword, because most of your options for organic, clean, really great products, I'm talking not greenwashing, but really clean, nourishing products for our whole entire home, are coming from small businesses, people who care a lot. They care more about their product and their consumers than they do about their profit margin. And so if the government's stepping in and regulating, one, you're going to put those little businesses out of business because they don't want them in business anyway. These big companies want to sell more and more deodorant. As you see, if you just walk down your local big box store, you're seeing more and more options just in one instance, one product in deodorant. You're seeing more natural deodorants on the store shelf. Flip them around and look at the back and look at the ingredients. And there's fragrance and oxybenzone and other things like that in there. But of course, they're magnesium-based or baking soda-based on the forefront, but they've also got these other ingredients in there.
From the Weston A. Price Foundation, welcome to the Wise Traditions podcast for wise traditions in food, farming, and the healing arts. We are your source for scientific knowledge and traditional wisdom to help you achieve optimal health.
Hey, Hilda here. A lot of us choose to eat a clean, healthy diet with real foods that are nutrient-dense. But it's easy to forget that the skin is our biggest organ, and all that we put on and around it seeps into the bloodstream and our bodies as well. This is episode 353, and our guest today is Emilie Toups. Emilie is the creator of Toups and Co Organics, a company dedicated to clean and natural skincare and makeup. Today, Emilie talks to us about how to nourish ourselves, not just from the inside out, but also from the outside in. We focus a lot of the conversation on the products that we put on and around our bodies. Emilie speaks of the importance of swapping out products with toxins, for example, like synthetic fragrances and sulfates. She covers how to help your natural deodorant work better and how we might not even need to use shampoo at all. She also talks about how fragrance-free laundry detergent may just be the way to go. Throughout, she peppers the conversation with personal stories of her own health trajectory and her daughter's eczema. Before we get into the conversation, I want to let you know that the Weston A. Price Foundation has a simple way to begin to incorporate the Wise Traditions lifestyle. We have a Healthy for Life guide and recipe book that explains which high-quality foods you should incorporate into your diet from 4 food groups, which are animal foods, grains, legumes, and nuts, properly prepared, of course, vegetables and fruits, including lacto-fermented products, and healthy fats and oils, including butter, lard, coconut oil, and cod liver oil. This guide has been used in schools and other programs, and it's available for only $10, and it's $6 each for bulk orders of 10 or more. You can get this guide in English, Spanish, French, and Italian. Go to westonaprice.org and click on the Order Materials button, and that's where you'll find it. And One Earth Health. You already know the benefits of organ meat, but did you know that New Zealand's organ meats are up to 400% more nutrient-dense than organ meat from other countries? That means you get a lot more vitamin A, K, and B, along with other nutrients compared to other sources. Now you can get these supplements in capsule form from One Earth Health. Their cattle are pasture-raised with no GMOs or pesticides, and their capsules are filler-free. Each bottle comes with 200 capsules, and all One Earth Health products come with a lifetime warranty. So go to oneearthhealth.com and use the code word WISE20 to get 20% off and free shipping. This offer is only for a limited time, so again, go to oneearthhealth.com and get 20% off any One Earth Health product using the code WISE20. And hurry, this offer will not last. This is Holistic Hilda, and you're listening to Wise Traditions. Welcome to Wise Traditions, Emilie.
Hi, Hilda. Thanks so much for having me on.
Well, you live on a farm and you have a beautiful family. And I understand that when Elise was little, she had some eczema that was like all over her body, and you all were at a loss as to what to do. Is that true?
Yes. And she was maybe a year to 18 months old. She had awful eczema, bleeding from cracks in her elbows, behind her knees. And we were at a loss at what to do. And so, like any mom, I just dug down deep and I was like, okay, we're going to figure this out. And we're going to look for other solutions besides the solutions that were being offered to us.
Which is usually like steroids and certain creams, right? That might help with the symptoms, but not stop the root cause.
Absolutely. Obviously, first they are offering steroids and all these things, and things help for a little while and they don't clear it up. And we were not very knowledgeable at the time about how important the things we put on our skin or in our body. And so that was when I really started to do a lot of research and came across some really excellent documentaries and things. And we kind of flipped a switch in our family, and she was our first child. And we just did a 180, both with the things we put on our bodies and in our bodies.
So, what was the first thing that you put on her that showed some promise?
At first, we changed her diet, and we basically went through our house with a black garbage bag, and we went through the cabinets, we went through the pantry and the refrigerator. And my husband and I just went and looked at every ingredient. And if it wasn't what we wanted, it was in the garbage. And so we kind of looked at each other and we were like, okay, what do we eat now? And through that really eye-opening example, we went to the grocery store and we were like, okay, the first thing we want to do is eat clean, nourishing foods. And we still had a very basic knowledge at that time. And we actually came across the GAPS book. And that was what we used to go to the grocery store and buy food to come home. And we were like, okay, we're going to heal her. But the first thing we put on her skin was tallow. And I had done a lot of research on things, what to put, not to put, petroleum products, etc. Contacted someone local. It was a local grass-fed farm, and asked for some tallow. And they didn't even know what it was. She was like, what? And I was like, yeah, tallow, like beef fat. And obviously this was probably 8 years ago. Let me contact our butcher and I'll get back with you. So she called me back one afternoon and she was like, yes, we weren't getting it back before, but we can if you would like some. How much would you like? I was like, I guess I'll take 5 pounds. And she met me on the side of the road one Sunday afternoon after church. And we just like did an exchange on the side of the road. She's like, you're the first person that ever asked for this. And went home and rendered it probably not the very best way. And I used it and it worked anyways. It didn't smell the best. How to render tallow properly came later, but it worked so well that we were just instantly sold. It's different than plant oils or obviously things like steroids.
All right, I just want to back up to something. You said, Emilie, that you watched some documentaries that were the start of this journey. What were they? You've got to tell us.
I'm trying to remember what they were. I think the very first one that we watched was called Hungry for Change. Don't quote me on that. I think that's the name of it. And, you know, when you clicking on documentaries and they have other recommended documentaries underneath, we were just so hungry for information that we continued just to watch the next one and the next one. And it just opened our eyes to a way of eating that we didn't know anyone that ate that way. We were immersed in just the standard American diet. And so what we thought was healthy then, I would not even consider healthy now. So you can imagine we were on the oatmeal cereal and rice cereal train with her. She was our only child that had formula. So she was also not only us, but she was also eating things as an infant that I wouldn't consider healthy today. And I think all of that together was the reason that we were seeing unhealthy symptoms in our and in her health.
You're right, because good health and glowing skin come from the inside out.
That's right. That is right. When people ask me, what is your number one tip for glowing skin? And they automatically assume that I'm going to say one of our Toups and Co products, of course. The first thing I always say is, are you drinking enough water? What foods are you eating? And they're like, what? That's not what I wanted to know.
Now, your skin, speaking of glowing skin, is just so beautiful. Did you ever struggle with acne or certain skin conditions?
When I was eating a standard American diet, I think my skin was very much more prone to breakouts and had very oily skin. At that time, I was using conventional skincare products, stripping all the oils off my skin, not moisturizing with oil, but oil-free was all the rage back then. You don't want to put oil on your oily skin. And so, yes, I definitely struggled with some skincare issues that were just the result of not knowing how to properly care for my skin.
And so when you changed your diet, obviously your daughter's skin showed improvement, that and the tallow, but did you also notice, hey, something's different for me too?
I think it took me a little while to really decide that I was going to throw away what was in that makeup bag. That's always the last
Mm.
thing to go. And so when I talk to women, especially women that are changing their diets, they're eating well, they are making lifestyle changes, and then you ask them, what's in that makeup bag? And they're like, oh, I don't want to show that. That's my little thing that it just affects just me, right? And so when we were pregnant with our second child, and then I looked into the makeup bag and into my skincare, then I was like, okay, do I really want to be putting this on my skin now that I'm pregnant and it is affecting someone else? I think often it takes us affecting another person that we love for us to make changes for ourselves because we always want to do the best for everyone else, but mom is last, right?
It's true very often. But I want to go back to what you said your friends kind of say or protest when you mention their makeup. I mean, a little bit of kind of non organic stuff, it's not going to hurt us, right?
So a lot of people think, oh, I just use this product. It just has a little bit in it, or it just has this. But we use those products every single day. And so a lot of times I ask someone, we use multiple products every single day. So the average woman uses about 12 personal care products on their skin per day. And a lot of people even more than that. And so when you add up the little bit that's in each product times the average of 12 times 365, we're using them every single day. It does add up to a lot. And I don't think we realize that, yes, our skin is our largest organ and our barrier, but it's also very permeable. And there are transdermal patches and things where we can take medications through our skin. So I think it's really important to realize how quickly the skin absorbs things and how those synthetic chemicals and things can make it into our bloodstream quicker than we think.
You know, it's funny because I think, just as you said, a lot of us in the alternative health space or people who are trying to improve their health start looking at the labels of the food they eat, but they don't look at labels of the things they put on their body or even their household products. But the thing is, I feel like a lot of those labels, first of all, they're super tiny. But second of all, they don't write all the ingredients on it because isn't there some kind of rule that they can keep their formulas to themselves?
Yes, a lot of products have what they call proprietary ingredients. And even the word fragrance can contain, I think it's in the thousands now of chemicals just under that one name. So, unless you are really well versed, it is quite difficult to look at a skincare product and be like, well, this is not that bad, especially when they slap the word natural on the front. And you're in the local big box store and you're looking for a product and you pick it up off the shelf and it says natural. We throw it in our buggy and we keep going thinking that it's clean. But I do think it's really important for us to know what those products are and what that ingredient means.
And how do we get started understanding that?
So I think the first thing is if you are picking up something in the store that says all natural, or you're reading on the back and there's these huge words, which I don't like to say that chemicals are bad because everything is a chemical.
Hmm.
We're talking about chemical exposure to toxic chemicals. And a lot of the top chemicals are going to be unpronounceables or a super long list with hormone disruptors and endocrine disruptors. There'll be phthalates. Fragrance is number one. If a company is putting artificial fragrances in their product, 9 times out of 10, they're not caring really about all the other ingredients in the products as well.
If I get what you're saying, it's that fragrance, as natural and wonderful as that seems, can be a combination of chemicals that are going to interfere with our body's function.
Absolutely. Synthetic fragrance is one of the top air contaminants. And so we also don't realize that it's not just in our personal care products. Fragrances, parabens, phthalates, propylene glycol, all of those things are in the products we use in our bodies, in the soaps that we use to wash our dishes, the soap that we use to wash our laundry, in the products that we use to clean our home. And so we think, oh, it's just this one thing in this one product. But every single product that we bring into our house is multiplied on top of each other times every single day.
It's like we're stacking up the chemicals so it's more than just one little phthalate or something in one of the products. You're right. We're using the soap. Our clothes has been washed in laundry detergent that has some of these hormone and endocrine disruptors. And then we put on some cream. So I get what you're saying, but This is my question for you, Emilie. How toxic are these chemicals really? Because honestly, they've approved the use of these products, so they can't be that bad, right?
So I think what a lot of people don't understand is that personal care products are not regulated by the government at all. A company can produce a brand new product, put whatever ingredients they want in there, ship it out to the stores and sell it. There's no one coming in to these companies and saying, oh, let's test this product and see if it's suitable to put on the shelf. And there are people that say, okay, well, we need more government regulation. We need government to step in and regulate these products that are being put out on the shelf. And I really think that's a two-edged sword, because most of your options for organic, clean, really great products, I'm talking not greenwashing, but really clean, nourishing products for our whole entire home, are coming from small businesses, people who care a lot. They care more about their product and their consumers than they do about their profit margin. And so if the government's stepping in and regulating, one, you're going to put those little businesses out of business because they don't want them in business anyway. These big companies want to sell more and more deodorant. As you see, if you just walk down your local big box store, you're seeing more and more options just in one instance, one product in deodorant. You're seeing more natural deodorants on the store shelf. Flip them around and look at the back and look at the ingredients. And there's fragrance and oxybenzone and other things like that in there. But of course, they're magnesium-based or baking soda-based on the forefront, but they've also got these other ingredients in there. So I really like to warn people to be careful of greenwashing. And I don't even like the word greenwashing, but it just means companies that are trying to sell you a product to make you think that you're buying something healthy for your body, but under the cover in those ingredients, it's really not healthy.
Coming up, Emilie discusses how to avoid toxic chemicals, and she suggests what to use on our bodies instead.
You're listening to the Wise Traditions podcast from the Weston A. Price Foundation. We pause now to recognize our sponsors.
Paleo Valley. Virtually every mushroom product on the market is not really mushrooms at all. Instead, they're just part of the mushroom called mycelium that is grown on grain. Then this entire mycelium and grain combination is included in the product, and what you get is up to 50% starch. These starches can cause gut irritation and interfere with your body's absorption of the little bit of mushrooms that are included in those products. Paleo Valley Neuro Effect, on the other hand, contains a blend of 8 whole mushrooms, so you get the entire mushroom instead of just a piece of it. And the product is greater than 26% beta-glucans, which are the medicinal elements of a mushroom. Many people enjoy coffee for its ability to increase focus and energy by modulating the body's secretion of BDNF, a protein associated with learning and memory. But coffee has negative side effects like crashes in the afternoon, stained teeth, dehydration, headaches, addictive properties, etc. This is one reason the foundation does not recommend coffee. But Paleo Valley went looking for a different way to increase the BDNF and added organic coffee fruit to Neuro Effect. In just 60 minutes, it works 4.3 times better than coffee at boosting your natural production of BDNF. Plus, it contains only 2 milligrams of caffeine, similar to the amount in a single square of chocolate, meaning you get no crash or desire for another cup. Just clean energy without the jitters. So go to paleovalley.com and use the code WISE at checkout for 15% off. Again, we're talking about Paleo Valley Neuro Effect. Go to paleovalley.com and use the code WISE at checkout for 15% off. And Optimal Carnivore. Organ meats are some of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. And the folks at Optimal Carnivore believe everyone deserves easy access to them, and they want to take the guesswork and hassle out of eating organ meats. So they started sourcing 100% grass-fed organ meats from New Zealand, freeze-drying the organs and encapsulating them into convenient bovine gelatin capsules. They chose New Zealand because it is a pure source, a pristine land with rich soil, lush greenery, and one of the cleanest environments on Earth. And they gently freeze-dry the organs to preserve all of the vitamins, minerals, proteins, and enzymes. Their products are 100% grass-fed and grass-finished and free of hormones, antibiotics, pesticides, and GMOs. And Optimal Carnivore knows that our ancestors would have eaten the whole animal, so they've created this unique blend of 9 different organs in their grass-fed organ complex. It's a powerful combination that includes beef liver, brain, thymus, heart, kidney, spleen, pancreas, lung, and gallbladder. Each organ contains its own unique benefits and nutritional profile and provides a large range of nutrients that supports all of the major organs and glands. It's a real nose-to-tail solution, perfect for people who are traveling or still trying to develop an appreciation for organ meats. Honestly, I have a very good diet, but I still take these products to help fill in the gaps. Plus, Optimal Carnivore plants one tree for every product sold, which helps the environment. They currently have a grass-fed organ complex, as I mentioned, a grass-fed bone marrow, and a grass-fed liver product. So go to amazon.com/optimalcarnivore and use the code Weston10 to save 10% on all products. Again, that's amazon.com/optimalcarnivore and the code Weston10. This is Holistic Hilda, and you're listening to Wise Traditions. Well, since we're talking about ingredients, you've given us some ideas about what to avoid, probably long chemical names that we can't pronounce that may indicate that there's more in there than we'd like and it's not that pure of a product, or the word fragrance, for example, or just to beware of certain labels. What should we be looking for? What ingredients would we like to see in the products that we use?
So some really amazing ingredients are animal fats. And thankfully, the anti-fat charade is being torn down. And the truth is coming out about fats are essential for us, both in our diet and on our skin. And so when you're looking at ingredients, you want to see low ingredient lists, 5 to 15 ingredients, pronounceable ingredients, things that you can look up. And if you don't know what something is, type it in an internet search, read about it, and just inform yourself before you are putting on yourself and on your children, just making sure that it's something that's clean. I love animal products. I hate that they get a bad rap in the skincare world. Everything is vegan. I often hear people say, oh, well, I switched to this product line and they're vegan. And so I ask them, I'm like, well, what does that mean that they're vegan? And why is that something that you would want? And usually they can't answer that question. And so then I like to give them a little education on animal fats and tallow, emu oil, things like that, and tell them how anti-inflammatory they are. And they're full of fat-soluble vitamins that are great for us on the inside and on the outside, and how important it is to nourish our skin from the inside and the outside.
Yeah, and you're reminding me, I did interview Andrew Gardner on the Wise Traditions podcast on an episode called Hello Tallow, I think. And he just said that the fact that we're animals should ourselves as human beings should give us a clue about what our bodies will respond well to.
Absolutely. Tallow is compatible with the biology of our cells, just about 80%. Actually, the word tallow comes from the Latin word sebum, and sebum is our own human's skin's oil. And so when we're putting tallow on our skin, it is permeating our cell membrane because it's full of saturated fats, it's full of fat-soluble vitamins, and we're actually feeding our skin cells from the outside. And so that is why so many people see such a great improvement in their skin from the use of tallow.
Absolutely. And yet, I do want to say, Emilie, sometimes when I go for a more clean shampoo or organic deodorant, I find it just doesn't work as well as the synthetic stuff. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. So as far as deodorant goes, first of all, find a natural deodorant that works for you. And second of all, if your natural deodorant is no longer working, there are so many things that we can do to find out why and help it work. So one of the things we can do is like a pit detox, which is just grab some clay, any clay that you have. If you have Kindling clay or some Redmond clay hanging around, mix it with some water and do a mask on your pits. That is the number one thing that works for people when they are switching from a conventional deodorant to a natural deodorant. Shampoos and hair, everyone's hair is different, and there's so many different hair types that I say just look for one that works for you. Try a couple, and there are some really great skincare products, hair products that work just as well as the conventional stuff. But sometimes I think it takes a little while to come off of conventional products. One reason why coming off of a conventional shampoo to a natural shampoo is difficult is because we have buildup of silicone on our hair from years of using silicone-based products. And sometimes it just takes not a learning curve, but a little while for those things to kind of slough off and for us to see what kind of hair we actually have without that buildup.
And what do you think of the no poo movement? Like maybe we're just trying to stay too clean and maybe we should like not even wash our hair that much. What do you think of that?
So I've gone through all of the things, right, in the last 10 years of just on this health journey. And I've tried no poo movement. I've tried sulfate free. I've done all the things. And I've kind of settled in the middle to using a shampoo that is sulfate free. But I'm not currently doing the no poo. I like to wash my hair.
You don't have to go that far. I'm just curious. Sometimes I think, are we overdoing it? I'll never forget when I went to one of these, I don't know, private makeup and skincare parties. And they were like, well, remove these oils and then put this cream on. I was like, wait, I should remove my natural skin's oils? That doesn't make sense to me. They didn't like that question. But I
Right.
just was thinking maybe they're on our skin for a reason. I'm not saying the dirt is good, although dirt can't hurt either necessarily. But I did think something was amiss with their approach.
Yeah, I am all for keeping your skin's natural oils, not stripping the skin. I love the oil cleansing method for cleaning the face. We have a sea buckthorn oil cleanser, and it just doesn't strip the natural oils off the face. And I think that's a great philosophy to follow for the entire body, using non-stripping cleansers from head to toe. And that has a lot to do with skin issues as well. When people have rosacea, eczema, a lot of psoriasis and things like that, the last thing we want to be doing is stripping the natural oils on our skin off. Another thing that comes up is people who have oily skin don't want to use oil on their skin. And so a big one is using the tallow balms on your face. People are like, oh, I have oily skin. That's not for me. And so I'm like, give it a try. When we are constantly stripping the oils off of our face, and we could stop doing that and feed it with nourishing oils, our skin actually starts to produce less oil. And we can go from an overly oily state to more normal or combination skin.
Interesting. Now, you said you have a sea buckthorn product. Tell us a little bit about what motivated you to actually start Toups and Co.
So after we started using tallow on Elisa's skin, and it just worked so amazing, I wanted to share it with some other people. So I'm making these in my kitchen and I'm sharing them with people, our friends and our family, and everyone is loving them. So we started an Etsy store and we put them on Etsy, and it was just kind of our little side thing. And whenever I got pregnant for Micah, I was like, okay, I'm looking at my makeup bag and thinking, I got to get rid of this. I can't continue to put these drugstore makeup products. I'm learning about lead and products and all these things. And so I just threw it out and decided to add some more products to the Toups and Co line. And it was very slow. We did not start out with any desire to own a company. It was just a real desire to improve the health of our daughter's skin. And then it was our friends and then our neighbors. And it was like, hey, can you make this product? Hey, do you have a deodorant? And I'm like, no, but let's see what I can come up with. And so we've expanded our product line very slowly, but just with the desire for more products, customer suggestions, and it's grown into this business that we just love. It's been an incredible blessing to us. And so when people ask me that question, how did you start Toups and Co? And I had to think back and I'm like, I didn't really start Toups and Co. It kind of started itself. It was just something that it was a need in our life and it grew very organically. And so it comes with blessings and curses at the same time. When you start a business or don't, and you have no intention of being profitable or growing, later on, when you do have intentions of maybe making a couple of dollars, you've got to we had to go back and just rethink, how do we want to sell these products? And so longevity on the shelf, et cetera. There's a lot of things, but Toups and Co just grew out of a desire for healthy products, recognizable ingredients, and just clean skincare for all. That's kind of our new motto, is clean skincare for all at an affordable price where everyone can have it. Education for people who are unsure why they would choose natural products instead of using conventional products. And yeah, I don't really have much more to say except that it grew organically.
I love it. I love that it grew organically because that's the kind of way you go, very natural and real. And I want to ask you just a couple more questions before we wrap up, Emilie. Talking about clean skincare routine, whether or not we go with Toups and Co or some other line, what are some simple steps we can take to improve our skincare routine?
So one of the top things that I always recommend is people start with their deodorant. It's one of the most toxic products in our bathrooms. And with just the rise of hormone imbalance, endocrine imbalance, cancers, especially female estrogen-based cancers like breast cancer. The deodorant is one of the most toxic products and the one that I ask people to swap out first. And so we're wanting to look at our back of our deodorant and do you see aluminum? What ingredients are you seeing there? And make a choice to choose whatever you choose something with clean ingredients.
That's good. Okay, for the deodorant, what about the face?
Okay, for skincare, you're going to want to choose something that is non-stripping, oil-based. If you're going to purchase tallow-based products, absolutely stay away from tallow from conventionally raised cows. You want to make sure you're getting grass-fed tallow. Just the vitamin E in grass-fed tallow, I believe, is like 4 times higher in grass-fed versus like a conventionally raised. So especially if you're making your own tallow balm, this is a really great tip, is to make sure that you're buying from local farms, asking them if they're grass-fed, and avoiding products with phthalates and fragrances, and stick to simple ingredients, small ingredient lists. Don't feel bad to reach out to the company, send them an email and say, hey, I'm not really sure about this ingredient. Can you elaborate on it? And just be really intentional about choosing your skincare and reading the ingredients on the back of the bottles.
And what about our household products? Where would you start if you were trying to overhaul that and you didn't want to necessarily do the garbage bag technique that you and your husband did and pull everything out, but you want to gradually make some changes? Where would you start?
I would start in the laundry. I can walk into someone's house and immediately, the second I walk in the front door, know what kind of laundry detergent they're using because the smell is so strong. And a lot of times our nose is desensitized to that once we've been using it for a very long time. Steering away from the top brands in the grocery store and just really choosing unscented is the first great choice. And then even choosing brands that have cleaner ingredients and doing some research. Get on the internet, research ingredients in laundry detergent. And a big one is dryer sheets. Buy some wool balls, maybe use a little essential oil if you want a scent, and overhaul your laundry. That's a huge one for choosing household products.
That's great. And you've mentioned several times in this conversation the importance of doing our own research. I want to mention that the Environmental Working Group, EWG, has a list of products, and I think they even rate them, and they really help folks know what's good and what maybe you should stay away from. But I want to wrap up now with a question I often pose at the end. If the listener could just do one thing to improve their health, what would you recommend that they do?
The most important thing is to grab those products in your house, flip it around, read the ingredient list, and research them. That's the best way to start. The one thing I could say is to do your own research. It's so important. You can listen to all the podcasts and all the books, but unless you go into your own home and pick the products that you're using and say, is this healthy for my family? And then do a little research. That will go the longest way.
Absolutely. That brings it all home, literally and figuratively. So thank you so much for this conversation. It's been a blast, Emilie.
Thank you, Hilda.
Our guest today was Emilie Toups. Visit her website, toupsandco.com, to check out her blog and products. That's Toups, Toups, and co.com. And I'm Hilda Libretta-Gore, the host and producer of the Wise Traditions podcast for the Weston A. Price Foundation. You can find me at holistichealthy.com. And for the transcript for this episode, visit our website, westonaprice.org, and click on the podcast page. And now for a recent review from Apple Podcasts. Amazing source of valuable information from What SKD. I found this podcast a few months ago, and I can't get enough. I've been listening to 2 to 3 episodes a day. Thank you for bringing the knowledge that so few know. Oh, what? It's really cool that you wrote this review. I'm serious. I love reading these. It encourages me so much, and it helps all of us remember we're right on track. If you like the show too, please rate and review it on Apple Podcasts, give us a bunch of stars, and tell folks why they should listen too. And thank you so much for listening, for being a part of this work. Stay well, my friend. Hasta pronto.
On behalf of the Weston A. Price Foundation, thanks for listening. We have many free resources to support you on your health journey. Visit westonaprice.org to find podcasts, articles, videos, and more. You can also find a local chapter near you for help in finding sources of great food. We invite you to support the Foundation's mission of education, research, and activism by becoming a member. Thanks again, and take care. Wise Traditions is a project of the Weston A. Price Foundation for wise traditions in food, farming, and the healing arts. The content on this podcast is provided for informational purposes only and is not intended to substitute for the advice provided by your doctor or other healthcare professional. It is not intended to be, nor does it constitute healthcare or medical advice.